Tools. Enchanté.
As we are awaiting the bodywork to be done, we will start prepping the bus. The windows have been installed by an external company and we're ready to start breaking down some stuff. Let's go! Today is the first day that I will be breaking down some of the interior of the van. As you can see, it's an empty shell, but it has some panels on the side and I really want to take care of the sound deadening and isolation. So today we're gonna rip out the panels and make sure that all the walls are degreased so that we can start with sound deadening. So really excited to finally get started after looking for a van for such a long time and waiting for it for even longer. So let's get into it. Okay, first off, some safety. Let's put some cones over here that nobody runs into the truck. So the first things we'll be getting off are these panels. These are located here. And as you can see, I'm already lucky. There's some sound deadening available from the factory or from the previous owners. That's already a good thing. So let's work with that and see what's under the other panels. I'm getting curious now. For this job, we will need a torque screwdriver, which I have here. I have some bits which I will try. And we also need some trim tools. I have some plastic ones here, which is really important because we don't want to damage the bus. And this will help not to damage it. So let's go.
I hope I will have the right size. Oh, they're so stuck. Luckily we have tools to help us out. Oh. Yes, this is the one.
I have to turn it loose.
So there's a slight crack in the nut. Yeah, there's
An ass crack.
There's an ass crack in the plug, and that's where you screw in, and then after you can like flap it out like this. Ooh.
Oh, it didn't flap out like that.
Come on, flap it, baby.
Oh, it flapped. Sure, let's. These two, I can't get them loose.
Get some down. We're back again. I couldn't finish last night because I was losing light and I don't have any building light available or any sorts. So today I'm gonna finish removing the paneling and start degreasing the van so that we can put in the sound deadening. So let's go. It's got quite cold overnight, so it makes it a little bit harder. But still, I want to continue because I want to get the sound deadening in before it starts getting really cold. The optimal conditions are around 15 degrees or higher. So the next days they are predicting the last days above 15 degrees. So we're gonna take advantage of that. So let's remove these. I do notice that these gutters have been treated with some kind of stuff, probably to prevent rust from forming because there's water running down in this gutter and it runs out. So this probably prevents the van from rusting. It's all over the full length of the vehicle. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. I'm gonna keep all the paneling of the van because we're gonna reuse it. Once the insulation is in place, we will reattach the wooden walls so it's also better protected, and the wood is also an additional insulator. So good stuff. So I labeled all the panels where they go. So in the end, if I have to remake this puzzle, it will be quite easy to recognize which piece goes where. Yeah. I removed all the paneling and now it's degreasing time. I'm gonna do that with this stuff. Tech 7 has like a really good cleaning stuff, and also you just gotta spray it on the van and just wipe it down with some water. Quite easy, and it will make sure that we can stick anything to the walls. getting kind of empty inside here. We're starting to move, and you can really see we're downscaling. So that's also the objective, because we cannot take a lot of stuff into the van, and that's also what we're gonna do. So we're gonna minimize our lives so we don't have to worry about a lot of stuff like that. So I did notice a few little chips on the paint job. I really want to treat them by degreasing and red painting them. That will really help to protect them. I also noticed that the wood paneling is leaving some marks, so we'll probably be attaching a rubber strip to make sure that the paneling does not harm the van afterwards. And it will also work as a sound deadening for the panels. So, shoo! Today we're gonna start with the sound deadening of the panels, because as you can hear, this is quite noisy. And by putting some stickers with some weight, actually there's some metal in there that will absorb all this trembling when driving. So you really need to fix all the panels that are resonating in the van, otherwise you will have a lot of noise pollution inside the van while riding, and we don't want that. So let's go. This will definitely add some weight to the van, but it's really necessary if you don't want to have all that noise pollution while riding. So let's check what's inside. You can quite easily cut them to the right length because we don't need the full surface to be covered. So we just cut little pieces off and the sticky bit. And then you have smaller pieces. I got a little pile of them, so now I'm gonna stick them to the walls, but first I'm gonna seal the van and I'm gonna heat it up a little bit, because below 15 degrees these things don't stick that well. So you can really hear the difference between both sides now. Listen. And then we have, so it's much denser with these things attached to it, so definitely a good choice. What I've noticed is that the wood paneling made a lot of these kind of chips that are now without paint, so I really want to treat them. I'm now sanding them down to make sure that I can treat them with anti-rust, and then I'll put some white paint on top of them to make sure that they have the same color as the van again. Let's go! First use a rough grain sanding paper to roughen the surface, and then we soften it with a smaller grain so that the paint can easily attach to the new surface and that we get a clean new paint job. So now it's time to give all these sanded pieces some color and make sure that they are all protected. Just make sure that all the surface that you sanded down is covered so that you don't leave anything unprotected. We're gonna cover that all in white. This is just sheer protection against rust, and then we're gonna overspray it with some white paint so that you don't see this color anymore. Becoming an art piece. Vinnie Vizzle art. Or Vinnie Vizzle fart.
Why?
I found this rusty spot right at the door, and that's probably because they had to repair something at the door. There probably was a dent or something that needed to be fixed. And that's kind of rusty because they didn't treat it after they have straightened the door. So I'm now gonna put some paint on there, and I got this like rubber paint because it's right at the bottom of the van, and that's where the water runs down to. I really don't want any water or oxygen to get in there, so I'm gonna treat it with some rubber paint so that it's all sealed and no air and no water can touch it. So let's go and do that. So I've sanded it down and you can really see the pattern. They put some electrodes on there and some electric wire, and they pop out the dents with this kind of technique. On the other side I had the same, but there it was treated, but here they didn't do a paint job afterwards, so I'm gonna take on that. So I have some leak proof, waterproof paint that I'm gonna smear on the bottom of the door because I cannot really touch it to sand it down, and there's still a little bit of rust there, so better go for the safe option and make it waterproof. I got some protection on the door because I don't want to get this sticky icky stuff to get onto the door or on any of the visible parts. I only want to have it in there. I also got this brush which is a bit angled to make sure that I can reach the spot very well, because it's quite of a thick paint, it's quite of a kind of a paste. So I want to get it on the right spot. That's why I have this angled piece of paintbrush. I tried to fix it to the best of my ability and it looks pretty neat. I hope that all these welding points are now covered, that we are safe to start insulation. Just let this dry. I also have this one done. It was quite a hassle, but still I got the paint on there and it seems to be covered. All the preparations have been done. The whole van is fixed to get insulated, and I took a lot of time investigating a good insulation system, and I'll share that in next week's video. So see you later, peace out, and bam!